The crowd in the arena thundered its applause as Kravex and Thamro stood victoriously on its sands. The Yevok they defeated needed 3 men just to slide it out of the stadium. Murmurs in the crowd about exactly how Thamro had floored the creature with a single kick included everything from suspicions that he was augmented by the most vile of evil magics to the healthiest of clean diets and vigorous exercise. Jenna Kiss, the apprentice necromancer to Boro Kane, certainly took notice from her position in the holding cell. She eased her way towards the victors once they were led back into the lower dungeon.
It would appear the speculations of your imminent demise was rather unfounded, gentlemen.
It would appear so, miss.
Oh, forgive me. I'm Jenna Kiss. I was hoping to get a word with the two of you.
It would appear as though you're getting several words, Jenna Kiss. More than I generally would give a mage. Considerably more than I would give a necromancer.
Thamro looked at Jenna, his face quizzical.
How can you tell that she's a necromancer?
It's the runes, kid. Look at her robes. She has runes all over them. Pouches on her rope belt with spell components. Nasty stuff in the wrong hands.
You sound as though you fear her more than you did the Yevok. She seems harmless enough to me. Hi, ma'am. My name is...
I know who you are, Mr. Thamro. From the sound of things, the entire arena does. That was some performance you put on.
What? Getting slammed on my head while Kravex saved me from the Yevok?
Quite the contrary. We all saw you kick that animal to the ground. But I respect your modesty.
He's not being modest, mage. He legitimately doesn't remember.
You don't remember kicking that creature on its back and ripping off your restraint like it was paper? I was going to ask if you were actually captured or if you became a gladiator willingly. You could obviously leave this prison whenever you chose to.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I honestly have no idea what you're talking about.
Do you think your restraint just fell off of your wrist on its own, kid?
At that point, Thamro looked down at his wrist and noticed for the first time that his chains were conspicuously absent.
That's not possible.
Neither is a 165-pound kid kicking over a 300-pound Yevok, but I watched it happen with my own eyes after he slammed you down on your head. Maybe that's the trigger. Come here, kid.
Whoa, wait a second. There's got to be a better way to test that theory. Maybe Jenna can help.
Not as long as my hands are restrained by these silver chains. I'd also need my staff for the spell I'm thinking of. That said, it sounds to me like you've been bewitched. Perhaps for your own good, considering they locked you up.
Said the mage wearing silver restraints. How's the view from your perch?
I was only implying that the man you are now is considerably different from the man you became in the arena. I would not want to encounter him on a dark road.
Several thoughts passed through Thamro's mind, but none of those thoughts contained any memories of anything before waking up in the cell in which they currently stood. And for the first time, it bothered him.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to find out who I am. I might have family, friends.
Relax, kid. We'll get it sorted out. Jenna, can you reverse what's been done to him?
Not without my staff. And even then, I'm not certain the spell I'm thinking of will work.
What Jenna did not say, but she certainly thought about, was that she also feared what she did not understand. There was likely a valid reason that someone bewitched this young man in this way. She would certainly feel more comfortable reversing a curse if she knew what she'd be dealing with once the curse had been lifted. Of course, none of that would be of any consequence if her master, Boro Kane, who had accidentally turned himself into an onyx dragon, destroyed them all in the meanwhile. That fact outweighed the others in her mind, so she decided to lay aside caution in favor of action.
When my master is discovered, the king plans to send me off with a detachment of soldiers to slay him. But if you can help me escape, then I promise to help you figure out who you are, Thamro.
And just why would the king be after your master, mage?
Warden Bane suddenly appeared and decided to enter the conversation.
Oh, she didn't tell you, Kravex? She didn't mention how our master is Boro Kane?
The necromancer? The terror of Welkin? Yours apprentice? I should kill you where you stand.
You're welcome to try, warrior.
No, you are not. No one is welcome to try anything but me. Kill her and you'll follow in short order, Cravex. The king is holding her here until we find out where her master is hiding.
There are only so many places a dragon can hide, fool.
Watch your tongue, you cheeky wrench, or I'll rip it out of your mouth.
Wait, did you just say dragon? Your master is a dragon.
An onyx dragon. The most powerful of their breed. He's already destroyed Echo Village. I'm positive I can reverse the spell if I am given the chance. That's why I traveled here.
The king appears to disagree with you.
Oh? What gave it away?
Borocane being a dragon is actually an improvement. He's a vile, putrid excuse for a human being. I wish they would kill him twice for the things he's done.
Said the man wearing iron restraints. I wonder what things you might have done to land yourself in here. How's the view from your perch, Cravex?
Don't presume to know me, necromancer. Anyone in here will tell you I was framed. Besides, I hardly think I draw a comparison to that animal.
Enough! All of you are filth. There, it's settled. Though, he does have a point. Necromancer, your master is the undisputed champion of filth. But I digress. When the king's spies free this dragon, he'll send you with a detachment as bait. When the dragon is drawn out and distracted, they will kill it, and they will likely kill you shortly thereafter.
Warden Bane left the cell chuckling to himself. Jenna turned to Thamro.
My offer stands, Thamro. Get me out of here. Help me find my master and reverse what they've done to him, and I'll help you regain your memory.
Don't fall for it, kid. Her master's always been evil.
Is anyone actually good, Cravex? If any of us really were good, would we be in this cell? And even if we weren't in this cell, would it matter if the gods decided we still fell short of their lofty standards? I shudder when I think of what I might have done that I can't remember. Maybe this misfortune has taught Boro a lesson.
So, you'll help me then?
Yes, ma'am, I will. Just as soon as I can figure out how I did all of those things I can't seem to remember actually doing.
The Mages Guild was approximately 73 miles south of the royal city of Fynn, essentially a day's journey, or shorter, depending on a rider's sense of urgency, and consisted of a sprawling campus that covered 160 acres of land. Magic in the land of Welkin was divided into several schools and often took even those with exceptional talent a lifetime of study and practice to master even the most basic of spells. The differing schools of magic were most easily identifiable based on the colors of the robes that the mages wore. The only accoutrements were runes, pouches, or sashes that indicated the rank or level of the mage in question. All mages had a base level of study that they were required to learn. Once they were ready to ascend to apprentice level, they chose a color, or school, to focus their studies. White-robed mages practiced healing arts, as well as mental magics, such as telekinesis and mind control. Gray-robed mages practiced manipulating the skies to call down lightning and control of various wildlife in nature. Black-robed mages studied summoning magics, specifically magical creatures, and manipulation of fire and earth. Blue-robed mages dealt solely with water, its creation, manipulation, and aquatic creatures. Then there were necromancers and blood mages, each considered evil practices by the magical community. Necromancers were not bound by schools, colors, ranks, or any adherence to traditional magical ways. They did what they pleased, which included the manipulation of the dead and a dabbling in all other schools. Necromancers chose their own paths, becoming good in many areas, but never masters in any in particular. As for blood mages, Well, no one really knew exactly what they did, unless one actually practiced it. And by then, of course, it was too late. No blood mages had been seen in Welkin for over a century. An apprentice mage from any school of magic generally wore plain robes, unless they studied under an archmagus, in which case one might see various runes or other symbols on their robes. A journeyman mage often had a cowl attached to their robes, and in many cases had already learned to craft magical staves. A magus would have all of the above, but would also have a sash or an off-the-shoulder cape added to their robes. Finally, an archmagus usually had all of these things and any other number of magical items they may have won, earned, or collected over a lifetime. Our story picks up at the Hall of the White Robes as Magus Thorn and Magus Calloway discuss the death of Archmagus Damian Lucian as the morticians prepared the body to be moved.
You've been in here all morning. Has this corpse told you anything new?
Do you think this is amusing, Magus Calloway?
A bit, yes. Not Lucian's death, of course, but the irony of it. Lucian was always preaching about how the spell was mightier than the sword, and yet that very instrument of death proved him wrong.
Magus Calloway gestured towards a sizable weapon lying next to the corpse of Damian Lucian. It was covered in dried blood and seemed to have a gleam surrounding its edges. It boasted a crossguard that gave the weapon the illusion of forming the letter T, with pointed edges that resembled fangs. The coroners made no effort to touch the weapon.
Are they going to just leave it there all day?
This is a crime scene, in case you missed that small tidbit of information.
I am quite aware of that. I just assumed someone would want to examine the murder weapon.
One of the coroners, within earshot of the private conversation, stepped forward and addressed the mage's concerns.
Apologies, gentlemen, but I couldn't help but overhear you. We've been unable to, move Convergence.
Convergence? It has a name?
Most blades do, Magus. Magical weapons in particular.
I see.
Is it too heavy for you?
Ignore him. Why haven't you moved it?
We can't. Convergence won't actually allow us to.
Are you saying that sword is bewitched?
No. I'm saying that sword is alive. Convergence, it seems, will only respond to the touch of its owner.
That murdering animal is the last person I want touching it. Leave it there for now. We'll discuss this amongst ourselves and figure out a way to move it.
Very good, gentlemen.
Meanwhile, evening began to descend upon Welkin, and even in the darkness, a young onyx dragon was difficult to miss. Boro Kane landed in a clearing and grimaced as his injured wing went through the healing process. If he had been able to rationalize like the man he had been prior to the curse, he would reason that the healing rate for a dragon is exponentially higher than that of all other creatures. In a few hours, his wing would appear as though nothing had ever occurred to it, and he would be free to roam the skies once more. The danger of a young dragon is that their brains have not fully formed yet, and, left to their own devices, they generally do exactly what Cain himself was doing, seeking food and destroying anything that was not sustenance. If Cain had been born a dragon, his parents would teach him the things that dragons do. For one, dragons did not rest in forest clearings. They made their homes in the mountains, far away from the taint of mortal men. Dragon scales, though effective against weapons, were useless against the cold. Dragons' lairs needed extreme heat to keep a creature the size of a dragon warm during the winter months. But no one was there to teach Borocane these things. Or was there? Unbeknownst to Cain, a man dressed in dark furs and animal skins watched him closely from among the trees. The man quickly sketched a crude portrait of the beast on a tattered scroll, quickly rolling it up and placing it in one of several pouches within his garments. He took a final look at the beast, and a smile found his lips. The prophecies were right, he mused to himself. He moved quickly, mounting his horse and riding off to get word to his superiors. Back in Fynn, in the lower dungeons, Thamro, Cravex, and Jenna continued to plot how they might escape. Our story resumes with them here.
It's not working.
You're not dropping a deuce, kid. You're trying to trigger your super strength. And that happened when the Yevok bashed your head in the sand. If you would just let me bash you, I'm sure it'll work. I promise, I'll be gentle.
I think I'll pass on that, my friend, though you admittedly have a point. I just don't have a burning desire to test the theory if we can find another way. What do you think, Jenna?
I think Cravix may have a point. For once.
For once?
I don't think it was the blow to your skull that caused the transformation in and of itself. However, now that I've given this a bit more thought, I think it was your emotional state combined with the blow to your head. What do you remember feeling?
I was terrified. I was shocked when he grabbed me and in pain when he slammed me.
All we have to do is recreate that scenario and it should bring about the same result. In theory.
In theory? In reality, the kid kicked over a 300-pound Yevok. Who's to say he won't do the same to us once he changes?
Well, in my theory, he also frees me from my bonds.
Oh, well, of course he does. Why didn't I think of that?
Once my hands are free, I can cast a spell I use to animate a skeleton. I can control his movements and use our friend to open the gates.
That all sounds fine in theory, but how do you know I'll free you? What if I hurt someone? And how do you know your skeleton control spell thingy will actually work on a living person? Aren't your powers specifically designed to deal with the dead?
Jenna had no answer. She looked down sheepishly and sighed.
Oh, come on. You're not just gonna give up like that, are you? I mean, at the end of the day, bones are bones, right? It should be fine, right?
Well, he's right. I cannot guarantee our safety.
Well, if we do nothing, I can pretty much guarantee our deaths, either by the dragon or by something in the arena. Come here, kid.
Cravex, let's think about this a bit.
Cravex punched Thamro hard to his jaw, dropping him to his backside. The young man rose slowly and spit blood.
Did it work?
No.
Did it work that time?
Wasn't the blow to the back of his head?
You know what? You're right. Get up, kid.
Can't we at least give me a minute?
Cravex picked Thamro up and body slammed him hard to the sand floor of the dungeon. When he saw the young man's eyes flicker with a white pulse, he didn't need to ask if it worked this time. Thamro rose slowly and wiped blood from his mouth. He grabbed Cravex by the throat and hurled him into the bars of the dungeon. He threw him so hard that Cravex caused the entire gate to fall off of its hinges. Jenna moved quickly and stepped in front of Thamro, holding up her chained wrists.
If you free me, I can cast a spell to help you kill your enemy.
I can kill my enemy without your assistance, Jenna. But perhaps your master will pay a handsome reward for your safe return.
Wait, you know me? You know my master.
From your reaction, I might know him better than you do.
Thamro snapped Jenna's restraints as if they were paper and moved towards Kravex, who, as he was moaning on the ground and trying to gather himself, heard the voice of Warden Bane and the patter of approaching footfalls.
Jenna, whatever you're gonna do it now.
Krivix, he knows me.
So will a spike if you don't do something. I hear footsteps.
Footsteps are the least of your
Thamro's eyes flickered, and he held his head.
Jenna, we're still gonna need evil Thamro if we want to get out of here.
On it.
Jenna hit Thamro in the back of his head with her chains, causing his eyes to flash white again. He turned and looked at her, a grin forming on his face. Jenna backed away in fear as Warden Bane entered the dungeon, flanked by several of the king's guards.
What in the blue hell happened here? Why are these prisoners free from their bonds? Seize them!
Jenna wasted no time casting her skeletal manipulation spell.
Dust to dust, shadows and dreams. Bones arise, defend me, please.
The spell worked, and Thamro was now under the influence of Jenna Kiss. She wasted no time unleashing him on the king's guard, but made sure that all he did was knock them unconscious. Warden Bane wisely remained out of Thamro's path until he was the last man standing. Of course, as if on cue, Thamro's eyes returned to normal. Then he had no idea, as he saw the bodies lying around him, what he had just done.
Did I do this?
Mostly, yes.
We all did. Can somebody help me up, please?
I'll help you, Kravex.
No, not you, kid. Never mind. I'll get up myself. You've done enough.
You've got a lot of explaining to do, Thamro. The king is going to put your head on a spike for this.
For what, Warden? No one saw him do anything.
Jenna began casting once more.
A whim, a thought, your mind distraught. These things you see, remember not.
Hello, so nice to see all of you. Oh, what happened to all these men on the ground?
Sleep you should, sleep you need. Rest your bones, if you would please.
The warden fell to the ground and was instantly fast asleep.
See, Krivix? Just like we planned it.
Yeah. Exactly like we planned it. What's our next move?
We need to get out of Finn. We'll figure out the rest once we do. My horse is stabled nearby. We'll need to borrow a couple for the two of you. Let's move.
What about these guys?
Thamro pointed to the other gladiators still being held in the dungeons. Kravex stepped forward.
I assume everybody here can keep their mouths shut. Otherwise, I don't have a problem bashing the kid in his head again and telling him all of you did it. That's what I thought.
And with that, Thamro, Kravex, and Jenna made way towards the stables and rode off into the night.